let me introduce us. I'm Federico. I'm from Argentina. I'm in Argentina right now. And Michael is in Budapest and he's German. And Sean is in Thailand and is Australian. Something like that.
Okay, so it's not a threesome, but a foursome. Okay, I wasn't aware of that, you know. yeah. I have this strange message here. It says this meeting is being recorded by the host and stuff, but I cannot. Okay, got it. There you go. Yeah, I just clicked it off away, so it's cool.
Don't worry. If you want, we don't put the video stuff. We can just
no, that's fine. That's fine.
Don't worry.
It just interrupted my view there. So yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Don't worry.
I mean, I'm doing all these kind of things. I mean, it's this kind of interviews, but it's on Zoom and it's on Messenger and Skype and all that. And it's like a lot of, kind of difficulties. Some people, I cannot connect you and this and that because they did that on Messenger on my official page, and that doesn't work because they cannot call each other and stuff. So it's like, postponing and try to set up new dates and all that. It's like really complicated, but you guys been very
easy
to handle. Yeah, very easy.
Yeah.
So which one of you is?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, don't worry.
You go ahead.
Even if we are in four, very, very far points of the planet,
Yeah. But that is, isn't it funny? I mean, I was doing this interview with a guy in Winnipeg, Canada, and we had some disturbance because there was a snowstorm or whatever it was like that. So I had a bad connection. And we kind of got a little bit, pissed off about that or whatever. But if you think about it, if you just zoom out a little bit, we're talking in real time across the fucking planet, and then you complain about a little bit.
It's amazing.
I mean, but if you think about it, like 20 years ago, that wasn't even unthinkable.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just the conventional telephone, right? Like
exactly. Or a fax machine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I mean, if you talk to kids these days, and if you show them a classic telephone, how do you dial? They don't even know how to do that.
They want to try, like with the finger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but isn't it funny how quickly you adapt to certain things? It's like, Control Z. When I'm doing something on my computer, okay, I regret that. I want to back it up. And if I'm, sometimes it has kind of transferred into real life. If I'm doing some painting, for example, that turned out wrong. I should regret that, but you cannot do that in real life. Control Z.
Yeah.
I killed someone. I shouldn't have done that. So can I regret that? No. It's unreversible. Yeah.
Where are you living now?
Living in Gothenburg, Sweden. Yeah.
Great. So you're still there?
Yep.
You're always there.
The thing is that I lived in New York for a couple of months. That was a childhood dream of mine.
Yeah.
Because that's the metropole for everything as far as I'm concerned, growing up, like seeing all these movies and all that. And to me, it was basically Kiss country. Kiss came from New York City. And also Spider-Man and Manowar and all that. So I wanted to live there. But when I did that, I figured that I realized that, like Lemon said, the chase is better than the catch. Sometimes you realize that at this point in life, when I'm 50, maybe not so much. Do I want to live in a city that never sleeps? No, shut the fuck up. I just want peace and quiet.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, life's changes, you have different ideals or goals in life. I just want peace and quiet and walk in the forest and stuff like that. It may sound some people are surprised about that. Oh, wow, you're hanging out in nightclubs and stuff. Absolutely not. I want to walk in the forest with my dogs. I mean, so that's basically what I want to do.
Maybe it's the idea that we have of the rock stars, you know, so all day party and stuff.
Yeah. But that is, I don't know if you read my book. Have you?
No, it's not here available, actually.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, it's just to order it from my web shop. I send it all over the planet, basically, you know, so to, and that's what I do. But that pretty much talks about that. I mean, the whole kind of, what do you say, like image or illusion of being a rock star, so to speak, or in a band or something. And I'm telling the harsh reality, because I mean, there's two sides to every story, of course, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not far. It's far from as glamorous and glitz and glamour as a lot of people still to this day seem to think. And it's. I mean, it's. Yeah. What can I say? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this thing is kind of getting dated and old. This whole heavymetal thing, you know. Yeah.
Oh, we have a young scene which is very active, actually. We're always surprised to see so many young people streaming still into metal, you know?
So define young, you mean like 45 or something?
No. Like, for example, no. You have lots of young bands. There was like one band playing classic thrash metal in the United States. Brutality is called. And they're like, I don't know, 18 roundabout.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of heavy topic, but as I can see, running my own business, running the whole operation, my own record company, and you know, everything like that. I mean, I think that the whole pandemic bullshit going on, putting a halt and pause to everything like that. I tend to think that, is this the end of an era? Is this the death knell to the whole scene? Because I mean, you can have that as a hobby to play music, but to earn a living from that, like you could in the past, I mean, it's just we were talking about this rock star illusion. You know, a lot of people seem to still think that, wow, it's like in the 80s to have like limousines and travel around in chartered flights and all that. Not so much. I mean, of course, it happens.
Music industry, I think, no, like no artist can probably survive anymore from music, apart from the biggest.
Yeah, even the really hard-earned, what do you say, like established acts from the 80s and stuff like that, they are still struggling like fuck, I guess. You know, they want to keep an image that everything is so good, but no. I don't know what to say really, but I mean, it's getting really difficult. I mean, there are no record sales. I mean, so we can get into that topic and talk about that forever. I mean, everything's been taken over by the streaming services. And this, I mean, although I'm using Spotify and that's been the best platform, you have access to everything, even if you're online, out walking or whatever you're doing, and you create your own list. It's very good. But the thing is that there are too many middle hands. So the money and the royalties won't end up in the pockets of the artists and the songwriters, and that's the problem. You know? Yeah, but these are really, really boring topics. But that's the harsh reality of the situation right now, I guess. You know?
Now in this
documentaries that the artist gets only 0.0001 cent per stream. Or something like that.
Exactly. So you have like 2 billion streams, then you get $1,000. You know? Yeah, but whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, and now
I guess.
Label, sorry.
This is the problem with Zoom. Sometimes there's delays. Sorry, Marco, you continue.
Okay, how is it when you have a record label? How do you manage everything? Is a record label actually of importance nowadays, or most artists are self-published?
They are. Say there are different aspects to that. I mean, when I had my last in 2017, that was the last time I put out an album on a record label, and they did such a tremendously bad job, you know. So I told myself, fuck that shit. I will never ever sign away to a record label unless it's like Universal knocking at my door, throwing millions after me. And so far that hasn't happened. but so I figured that after all these years, I mean, it's a whole different ball game. The whole scene has changed so drastically, and I've picked up stuff over the years, being in this business for 30 plus years. That basically I know. I'm not saying I'm an expert in the field, but neither are they, and they claim to be. So, and they don't care about it, because I mean, my music is like my baby. So, who's the most qualified to take care of that kid? That's me as the parent, obviously, because to them it's just another title. They just after the money, and they don't give a shit, basically. So you have like a promotion run or a period of like 2 weeks or something like that, and they send it out or put it on some sort of platform or whatever, and that's it. You can't really expect them to do that extra, run those extra miles to promote it and get it out there, because to them it's just another fucking album, you know. So I figured I might as well take care of it myself. That's where I figured.
Yeah, obviously it doesn't apply at the moment because we can't tour and everything, but normally when bands can tour, is that still a lucrative way for bands to be earning money and to sustain themselves throughout their career? Or have you seen that also go down? I
gotta say, it's going down. I mean, if there are no receiver for whether you put out an album or if you want to do a tour and all that, the whole business is so what's the word for that? I mean, there are too many bands, I guess, you know, competing about the same audience, and it's not like a growing, because it's not that popular anymore. I mean, of course, the people like us who grew up with this, we're still gonna. I mean, these are so strange topics, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I don't see a lot of regrowth with young kids. I mean, you can, like you mentioned, you can see like young bands putting a thrash band together or something like that. Of course, there are those people, but it's not on MTV. I mean, there's no such thing, and it's not like the 80s, and a lot of people still seem to think that it is like that when you put out on Netflix the Dirt movie, and wow, it's also fashionable and lucrative and this and that. But I cannot really see that anymore. And I mean, I've been on the grass, sort of like going up and down like a roller coaster, like being with very popular bands touring the world, and then I'm doing my own stuff, starting from square one again. And you know, I've seen every fucking level of it, you know. So of course, SABATON, I mean, they are very popular, for example, and probably earn really good money, but it costs tons of money to bring out that circus on the road as well, because I mean, there's big productions and all that. So I mean, I'm not in this for the money, but we all got to eat, right? But it's I don't want to be negative or have that bleak outlook on it, but it's hard not to. I mean, you got to be realistic and reset, sort of look at it the way it is. You know?
So you feel like that the metal audience is kind of shrinking a little bit, and it's not really it's not growing. It's kind of shrinking on itself.
Yeah,
generally.
Definitely. Yeah.
But do you think something new can come out of this? That there'll be a new kind of like direction that maybe it could take that might re-spark the demand and the interest in heavier kind of music?
I would say, I mean, we were praising just praising the fact that we can sit here and talk 4 ways, and we're all over the world, and that is modern technology, and that is really impressive, of course. But internet has definitely kind of changed the game plan or the whole thing, of course. And the way I see it is that if you don't invest in anything, like buying a product, if you get everything for free, you have access to everything for free online, just a click away, it tend to lose its value, you know?
Yeah.
For instance, I mean, I keep drawing those kind of comparisons. Like when I was a kid and I saved up my weekly allowance or whatever to buy an album, maybe, wow, this looks so cool. And I picked it up and I went home. It wasn't so good, really, you know, but since I invested all my hard-earned money on that, I kept listening to it, and eventually it kind of grew on you, you know. Some songs, okay, that seventh song, it's not so bad, and okay, the third song, a really cool riff, and blah blah blah, whatever it was. So it kind of grow on you because it takes time. And nowadays, attention span is down to like I don't know, three seconds or something like that. If someone tells me, for instance, like, check out this cool band, and I do that on Spotify, okay, I listen to their top list, their most popular songs, and I see, okay, I listen to so and so, maybe I can go to the second song, and then I probably skip it because I haven't invested in anything, so I don't give a crap. But that's just me, and I'm not a consumer. I'm more of a producer. I mean, I haven't kept updated with contemporary bands or whatever they do. I don't really care. I'm doing my own thing, I guess. But what I'm saying is that if you haven't spent any money on it, I mean, it's like easy come, easy go. You can just throw it away. I mean, it's not worth anything anymore, you know.
And some of the greatest music takes some time to kind of like absorb and to really get into it. And then if you don't give it the time, you don't get the reward out of it, and that's a real big shame.
That is exactly the truth, because it takes some time. Otherwise, you're going to see music that and the chorus, the catchy chorus comes straight away because people have no fucking attention span. I've been saying that, like, crazy. But if you think about it, I mean, if you watch a movie, I mean, you can see the sort of the introduction of a movie. It's like, you know, big explosions and hot chicks and all that, because they want to catch the attention of the people right away. Otherwise, what the fuck, this is boring. They don't have the time to spend. So it's kind of a little bit saddening, and it keeps the songwriters have to step up and do more catchy songs and all that. And I gotta say that the thing is that an album these days have the longevity or life existence on the streaming platforms and services, let's say, depending on what kind of artist it is, of course, but it's like a month or something, then it's over. So if you put out like 12 songs on an album that you spent 2 years in the making, and people only listen to the two first songs, maybe, you know, so that is why I kind of reversed the whole thing and decided, why put out 12 songs on an album and it's over in a month or 6 weeks or something. So I reversed it and decided to put out one single each month instead, and then in time for Christmas collect it all and put it out on a physical CD and a double live LP.
Interesting.
So, not live, I mean vinyl. That's what I but so that's what I did, because then it keeps me sort of in the focus in some way for 12 months instead of 1 month, you know. So you get one song every 24th of the month, so you have something to look forward to. I mean, it was just an experiment that I tried out, and from what I can tell, in summation, I think it has panned out pretty good. I gotta say.
You know that Jürgen Munkeby from Shining and Emperor told us more or less the same, that he prefers, you know, to publish or post a song each month. You know, it feels like better for the artist also. You know, it's like a shame, because every 2 years, 12 songs is like 10 songs nobody can really hear. You know, pay attention.
But that's the way it is. But I mean, you got to look at the adapt or die. It's pretty much like that. I mean, you got to look at the situation for consuming music nowadays. How does it work? In some ways, I would say it's been kind of going back to the 60s, when people put out like singles, hit singles on the radio and all that, and then they collected, like, let's say they did 8 singles or something like that, and then collected that on a full-length LP, a long play, a full, and put on like 2 bonus tracks or something, just so people who had their singles already would go out and buy the big LP, And it's kind of back to that. And there are no place for fillers. You cannot. A lot of the albums that I listened to when I was growing up, maybe they had like 3 really cool songs, and the rest were like pretty much crappy, that they just fillers, But you cannot afford that anymore, You cannot put out that, because now it has to be top notch. All of the songs got to be in your face, like spearheaded or something like that. And so in a way, it's a good way, because it's sort of, the competition gets tougher, and maybe people step up to the challenge, I guess, and doing better songs or something like that, because you can't have any fillers anymore,
But I guess then we don't really see like the concept albums anymore, or like the album that's meant to be kind of listened to from start to finish. It's just singles.
But it's really, really so sad, because the way I consume music, I listen to the whole album and the running order of the songs, and listen to the lyrics maybe, or the whole atmosphere of the whole album. But that's sort of lost. That whole experience is kind of lost. But I mean, and what I'm doing here, apart from this particular album called This Is Heavy Metal, Plain and Simple, 12 songs, 1 put out each month, and I have invited a lot of special guest stars on it, so that's that kind of concept. But apart from that, I'm writing like in different directions, and that is why I picked up all these old songs that I've been writing, and maybe I did it for Dream Evil or even earlier on, or some other projects, and I kept remembering these songs, and that is why these are good songs, but they don't necessarily fit into that kind of direction or concept that I'm writing, or that one, because I'm doing like these different concepts albums, that where I want things to go hand in hand, like the sound and the lyrics and the way you sing and the artwork and this and that. I mean, I don't want to have it too scattered. It's got to be like one world. So I'm creating those small worlds. But in this case, with this album, This Is Heavy Metal, Plain and Simple, it's also called that because it's nothing special. I mean, it doesn't have that unique characteristic direction musically. It's like hard rock, heavy metal, like within a big span of it. But the next album that I'm thinking of, been planning on doing for years and years, I was thinking, okay, so this is the kind of problematic situation that we have, that people they pick the raisins from the cookie, so to speak, and just pick out the songs they like and they ignore the rest. But so I was thinking, I shouldn't have any fucking songs. I mean, it should be one song, 45 minutes instead. So you cannot jump to the third song if you prefer that one. No, you got to listen to it from start to finish to get the hang of the whole concept, so to speak, And we'll see about that. People's going to be pissed off about that, of course. But I've been saying that, okay, when I pick up a book, I don't jump to page 146 and start reading there. If I watch a movie, I don't fast forward into the movie like 45 minutes into the movie. I want to see it from start to finish to get the hang of the whole story. Yeah. So, and the same things with concept albums. But I don't know if it's a big business or not. And everything comes down to money in the end. I mean, not that I'm doing this for money, but I cannot invest all my money into something that's going to have no fucking return. So you gotta, those are the conditions, and you gotta
adapt to it.
Exactly.
It's tough. You still buy vinyls, physical disc?
No, I haven't. I actually, like 2-3 years ago, I sold all my vinyls because I figured that next time I move, I can't carry around like 1,000 vinyls or whatever. I haven't listened to them for. I haven't listened to them for maybe. Yeah, but I haven't listened to them for maybe 20 years or something, you know. So I figured, okay, now it's kind of popular and this renaissance, and people want to, you know, are interested in getting, you know, like rarities and all that. So I figured I might as well sell it. I mean, I kept some of my, you can see that up on my shrine here. I have like Kiss Destroyer, Rainbow Rising, and you know, Queen 2 and blah blah blah.
Nice.
Welcome to my.
That's your top 10.
Nah, not really. I mean, it's a mix. I mean, it's albums that I mostly I like the album covers.
Okay.
You know? but it's Sad Wings of Destiny is one of my favorite Judas albums, and Rainbow Rising, Kiss Destroyer, Loud and Proud, Nazareth. Welcome to My Nightmare and stuff, you know. So not necessarily my favorite album with the band. In some cases, like Wonderworld with Uriah Heep, maybe not my favorite album, but it has Ken Hensley's signature on it. When I met him, he was supposed to be a guest star on this album that I've been putting out this year, but he passed away, and a lot of my, you know, teenage or childhood heroes has passed away because that's the law of nature. I mean, they are probably 20 years older than me, and you know, they've been around for a long time, and you know, you don't live forever, you know. So this whole thing is getting kind of old. I mean, if the whole metal thing, or heavy rock, if you want to call it that, started out like in 1970, the first Uriah Heep, the first Black Sabbath, the first real Deep Purple, if you ask me, you know, in rock and all that. So, and those guys, they are fucking 75 now or something, you know. So yeah, we can't go on.
Do you like those kind of music of the beginning of the hard rock?
Yeah. But that's my heart and soul is in the 70s and early 80s. I gotta tell you. Sorry.
Which ones do you prefer?
Which ones from the 70s, you mean, or
and 80s and early 80s also?
Early 80s, I was like really into Manowar. They were as big as to me in the 80s as Kiss was in the 70s to me, you know.
I started with Manowar, my first metal album, Manowar.
Okay, yeah, but I really love it. I mean, I have like tattoos with Manowar, and I had Ross the Boss. Nowadays, I'm proud to call him a friend, and you know.
Awesome. What's your favorite album of Manowar?
Into Glory Ride. That is kind of my Bible, and Hail to England also. Yeah, but. Like with everything, I mean, I don't know why I took it so much to heart like I did, and I really adopted this whole their death to false metal. I mean, that is something. First of all, I thought it sounded like a corny thing to say, death to false metal. What is false metal? But gradually, I got the hang of it or understood what they meant, because you could see that by 84, 85 or something, you could see that it became bands wanted to make it big commercially, and MTV and the whole hair metal thing started to happen. You could see all these bands like Saxon, for example. They've probably been told by the record company, hey guys, it's in America, that's where everything happens. So you got to compete now with Van Halen and Motley Crue and all that, and you have to look the part. You have to look like hot, you know, guys hanging out on the beach or something. So they try to have beach blonde hair and leg warmers and compete with David Lee Roth, and not necessarily it did work out so well in some ways.
No, thank God not.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of fucking hated that whole thing happening, because I mean, what happened to the real heavy metal when it was like ugly guys from Birmingham, you know? Yeah. Or
well, not so much changed, I guess.
yeah, but I mean, kind of like the outcast and the outsiders, or the rebels or whatever, and everything became so superficial and MTV radio friendly, Americanized, and the longer you could see the 80s progress, it became more and more superficial and plastic and fake. What happened to heavy metal? So that is why Into Glory Ride became like my Bible, you know.
For me, it was Kings of Metal.
Okay. yeah, that's a really good album. Yeah, but that is probably the last one I like, actually. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe it was I don't know. It was the last with Ross the Boss, and yeah, it's a really good album. Yeah.
Right.
Now, you're living in Gothenburg. I mean, it's like the cradle of Swedish death metal. What do you feel there? Is it still there like that, or not more?
You know, it's kind of funny. I mean, there are been places over history, where over rock history, where it's like focused on a specific city, like Seattle, for example. Maybe not the best example, but you know how that kind of exploded. Yeah, I hear people, like I was working with these French people. They were based in Paris, and they said, "No, we have to relocate. We can't be here. Let's go to London, where everything happens." And this was maybe 10 years ago. And I say, "What do you mean nothing happens in London nowadays?" I mean, yeah, but think about the swinging 60s. Yeah, but that's the 60s, you know, and everything became really, really based in the epicenter of the whole glam scene or whatever in Hollywood, in Los Angeles in the 80s, where this hair metal thing kind of exploded and so on. But you know, Gothenburg, there was this festival here that kind of used that name, Gothenburg Sound, it was called, and they interviewed me and asked, okay, so how do you feel part of this Gothenburg Sound? Yeah, but this Gothenburg death metal sound, I don't know about that. I mean, I know the guys and all that, but I am from Gothenburg, and that's it. So I don't feel part of that. And from an outside, Fredrik Nordström, that I played with in Dream Evil and so on, he kind of invented that kind of thing together with At the Gates and maybe Dog Tranquility and all that, and In Flames, of course. But when you're in something where you live there, you don't even notice that. I mean, from an outsider's point of view, they might think that, wow, it's like such a great scene and all the guys hanging out and blah 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 playing. It's not like that at all. Not that I can see anyway. You know, just because you're in that melting pot, so you don't know it. You don't notice it. You know. Yeah.
So what's up next? New albums, live? What's coming up?
The whole live scene is, you know, as you know, I mean, it has took a dive and pretty much died. People are trying to book new tours and all that, but everything is so insecure. You don't know what's going to happen. You know, I was supposed to last year to do this book signing tour. Where I also should play a couple of songs, talk in between the songs, and meet the fans, like smaller, more intimate get-togethers or events, and sign the books, talk to people, Q&A, and all that. And I was supposed to do that from late May in Europe and then in America, all over in the fall and all. But you know, that thing had to be postponed or pushed back until further notice, and we're still here now. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. And let's say okay, now it's Denmark is open, for example. I can play there. Can I play Germany? I don't know. Can I play Holland? Maybe, but not Belgium. You know, there are all those different restrictions, and it changes from day to day. So there's so much insecurity. I mean, you cannot really afford to go out there. For example, like those nightliner buses. I mean, they cost maybe, I don't know, shitloads of money to rent every day, you know, out on tour. And you cannot be out on tour and, okay, now we cannot play for 2 days. We have the whole crew sitting here, and we have to you know, get hotels and all that, or stay in the bus at some fucking parking lot. So it kind of ruins the whole economy of it. I mean, when I was with Therion, for example, we might be out on tour all over Europe for like 3 months, and we never had any days off. I mean, if you have a day off, you lose money. You know?
Yeah, right.
So you got to go. The circus got to keep it rolling, you know. And so it's kind of hard to set up a tour now. I mean, you see that all those bigger acts, like for example Ozzy Osbourne, now he postponed to 2023, I think, like this farewell tour that he's been on since '94. Whatever it was, no more tours. That was the tour for No More Tears album, and that was in I think 93, 94, something like that. And he's been on this No More Tours 2, since I don't know, maybe 2018 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the never-ending tour.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with Kiss and all those bands. I mean, Judas Priest as well, and all the bands. It's a kind of cheap trick, I got to say, to lure people into coming. Wow, we got to go. This is the last opportunity we have to see them before they quit. Yeah, they've been saying that now for 15 years.
I heard that from Rolling Stones like 25 years ago.
Yeah, but it's crazy. I think Status Quo was the first band. They announced their farewell tour in 1984, I think.
Yeah. Snowy. What do you think about the next tour of Mercyful Fate? Is on that kind of bands?
I'm not that much involved with that. I mean, I heard they getting back together. My ex-wife, she called me up and said, "Hey, I heard Mercyful Fate got back together. Weren't you in that band?" She asked me. Yeah, at some point I was, of course, but so I had to call Mike Weed up and say, "What's going on here?" Yeah, we got back together, but okay, since I'm talking to you, it means that Michael Denner isn't there. So who's playing drums? Is it Bjarne? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's Charlie on the bass because they're gonna pick up from where they left off with this last album in '98 or whatever it was, And no, we didn't even contact Charlie D'Angelo because he's too busy with Arch Enemy and all that. So yeah, it's kind of a strange setup there. So it's, I guess you haven't missed. There's been a lot of conflicts because they left out. They didn't even talk to Michael Denner about that. And so I don't know. I don't want to take sides or anything like that. I don't know their politics, but it's been a real stab in the back, I think. He wasn't even asked to join the band, But what can I say? I mean, it's been postponed now for 2-3 years, isn't it? But who knows? If it's going to happen now, like 2022, who knows?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Speaking about the technology of Zoom and being able to communicate from all corners of the world. Have you been using this time to collaborate with other musicians and other bands during COVID through the internet?
I have quite a few, actually. Just yesterday, I think they posted Infinity. I don't remember his name. Keyboard player, I think. Beno Vasquez or whatever. I don't remember his name. Infinity. I sang on that song and I posted it on my official Facebook page last night because that was the first time I heard it. But I mean, that's how it works nowadays. I mean, I posted a picture, a collage of all the members appearing on this album. This is a metal, plain and simple. And there are tons of them. I don't know, maybe 30 people or something like that. And the collaboration, or it works like this. I mean, I record everything in my studio and doing all my vocal stuff and also doing the guide vocals for them. Okay, I want you to sing like that, like this, or with those type of lyrics and all that. And I've been sending it off to Susie Quattro, for example, and Dan McCafferty from Nazareth. I mean, all those childhood heroes. Before I don't want to be a jinx or negative like that, but we're not getting any younger, so I want to fetch them before they pass on, and sorry to say, but Ken Hensley, I mean, he was going to be on my album, but he passed away, and other people too. I was in contact with Hank von Hell, for example, to collaborate on a song called Weekend Warrior, but then I kind of changed a little bit. So I had a Gothenburg team on it. So I had people from the singer from Hardcore Superstar, Mustache, and Lilla Sister. Yeah. Anyway, but I wanted to make it a Scandinavian thing. So I would have Tony Atkins, or maybe what's his name, Jesper from DAD. You know, we should do like taking turns there with the vocals. Yeah, but what I'm getting is what I'm getting at is that we don't meet at all. We're just sending files. You know, I'm sending the song, and okay, here's where I want you to play. So you put your solo on top of that, and they, you know, do that on a separate file, obviously, and send it back to me. So it may look like, wow, we were hanging out. That's not how it works.
Is it weird though when you meet someone that played on your album in real life, and they're like, hey, I did the solo on that song, and you meet them in real life? Is there some sense of like you know them already because they play and you communicate?
Yeah, but that's probably happened. But I mean, I recorded a whole album with what's his name, Ralph Shapers, for example. I never. We have email contact, but I never talked to the guy. You know, I never met him. so yeah, but that's how it works.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but I was doing this interview with an American radio station like a couple of years ago, and she said about Denner Sherman. This is like Hank Sherman and Michael Denner, and it has Sean Peck on vocals, and I don't remember the name of the bass player, but yeah, and me. So and she said, yeah, it must have been good to get together with old guys and talk old memories and all that. I hate to ruin your illusion, I said, but we never even met. You know? What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, but they live in Denmark. Denner and Hank, they live in Denmark, Copenhagen. I live in Gothenburg, Sweden. The singer lives in San Diego, and the bass player in Denver, Colorado. So, you know, we never even meet, you know. Yeah, but how do you rehearse? I mean, if people ask, how do you rehearse then? We don't. I mean, so I did that in the 80s. So.
What's your collaboration right now with Therion?
There's not so much collaboration with Therion going on at all. I recorded drums for 2 albums, maybe 22 songs or something like that. That was maybe last year, I think. And he also used another drummer. So we had like 2 options to pick, whatever he felt you know was the best result, or whatever that fitted the song the best way or something. I don't know, but apart from that, I haven't had any much contact with Christopher lately. I was supposed to be on this big tour before the fucking Corona thing hit the world. We were going out on a 2-3 months tour all over the world, pretty much. And he had been calling me, asking me can you come back to the band and sing? No, I don't want to do that. Can you play the drums? No, I don't want to do that. So he asked me,
maybe the guitars.
But so he asked me, can you play the bass and sing? No, you can stop calling. I'm not interested. I want to move forward. I pretty much done that. So I said the only thing that would make me change my mind is that if my own solo band could be the opening act and we play an hour. That's perfect, he said. He kind of interrupted me. And then you change shirt, and then you go out and play with Therion, and then you play bass and sing. Yeah, but that's a good setup. So I play like 3 hours every night or something. Yeah. But
you really enjoy that. I mean, live music. Sorry? You really enjoy that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm so grateful for the years I had with Therion. But towards the end, I mean, I don't know what it is, but with me, I've quit all those big bands that I've been with, because after a while it starts getting like, routine and
quite boring.
In a way. I mean, that's just my personality, I guess. I need more challenges or something, and it's become like routine and the same thing. And I tend to sort of start drifting off and getting bored with the whole thing, because I need to take on new challenges. I remember a kind of towards the end when I was with Therion, it must have been 2011 or something like that. I was up on stage. We were in Greece. And I was like up there singing, and I was looking at the stage floor. I was like, "Oh, I wonder what kind of wood is that? Is it birch, maybe?" so I was like, "What the fuck am I thinking about here? I'm up on stage singing. I'm start looking at the floor." That was a clear indication to me that maybe I should.
Need a change.
Yeah, a little change there.
And those years you had a collaboration also with dimmuborgir. What happened with that?
Yeah. You can read about that in the book of heavymetal.
Wow.
As my autobiography is called that,
Nice.
because that was the most popular song that I've written so far, and had some all other titles to begin with, but then I figured, oh, it's so obvious. If I write my autobiography, it's got to be the book of heavy metal, of course, because that's been sort of my life, like playing metal music with a lot of bands and doing my own thing the whole way through. But yeah, what happened with dimmuborgir? I mean, I kind of explained that in detail because I wasn't that keen on kind of spilling the beans earlier on, and I was like not allowed to either. But so I'm telling the way it is, because I mean we got along really, really fine. I told my wife then after the first couple of weeks, like, wow, I love being in this band. We get along so fine, and I'm.
See.
I thought I was going to stay in that band until the day I die, but after like after 7 months, I couldn't put up with it anymore because of her. And and to me, it felt like a reaction towards the makeup. What is that? Or did you hurt from playing bass? Because that's what I did, bass and sang. No, it has nothing to do with whatever it might be. I mean, other things that going on behind the scene, So it had absolutely nothing to do with the guys, even though indirectly it has something to do with them, because they didn't back me up or stood up for themselves, So they let her be a fucking dictator in a way, and run the business, which she did very poorly, I say, So that's why I left. I couldn't put it up with it anymore, because, like I was getting at, I'm going to stay in this band until the day I die. After 7 months, I thought I was going to die if I don't leave. So I had to go back. I quit. I put up my live DVD. Show that here up on the wall. I don't know if you see it.
Yeah. I can see that.
Maybe it says snowyshaw, blah, 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 plays all his favorite song with all his former bands. Because when I was out on that Therion tour, all over Europe, like former Eastern, what do you say, like Union countries.
Yeah.
A lot of countries I'd barely hear of their. You should go back to Dream Evil. I want to see you play drums again. And wow, you should reform Notredame, my old horror band. And wow, illwill should make a new album. No, fuck that. His friend said he should go back to mementomori. yeah, it's a nice compliment. But I figured, okay, I cannot possibly please them all at the same time because I cannot be in 12 bands at the same time. So how the fuck can I do that? After a while, I mean, you kind of brush that off and say, thank you very much. That's very nice of you. But after a while, it started to nag me, kind of like, okay, there are so many people I haven't heard about their country, and they talking about obscure underground bands like Illwill or Mementomori or whatever it might be. But so I figured, what can I possibly do to please all of them at the same time, including myself, because I have no interest in going backwards. I want to move forward and take on new challenges and all that. So I figured, but okay, is if I'm sort of like maybe not the focal point, but I'm the connection here, like in a chain. But if I do my solo thing, and then I play all my time on a Mercyful Fate or all those bands, and I also invite guest stars from all those, and I recorded so that out on a live DVD. It's called 25 years of madness in the name of metal. It's called. So that was like kind of the breaking points. Like, okay, for the next 25 years, I've been doing this for 25 years now. The next 25 years, I'm gonna go solo and do my own shit, because I've quit all those bands. And I cannot fucking quit all the bands all the time. So I figured if I do my own band, I can never quit. Unless I die, of course. That's what I figured,
Right. Okay.
So you really enjoy every band that you have?
It's been but even the bad ones, I gotta say, because it's a good learning experience in every kind of way. Because you gradually learn, even though not to repeat the same mistakes again. Okay, maybe I should have handled that better, or that band was really cool for the first 2-3 years, but then something changed. Some member leave the band, and that changes the whole chemistry. Or if I wasn't pleased with my position in the band, I mean, with Mercyful Fate, for example, that was a childhood dream, I guess, to be in that band. I discovered them with Black Funeral on a compilation album in '83 when I was 15, and me and my buddy was the guitar player. We picked out that song. Wow, that thing. So like, what is this? They were all American bands, and we tried to do that song. Okay, I'm getting on a detour here. But anyway, so when I was in that band 10 years later, in the original band of Mercyful Fate, I just figured that I was like an equal member, sort of like a full-time member, and could contribute with the songwriting and the creative process and all that. But it turns out that they were not so interested in that. They wanted a drummer. To keep time. And to me, it felt like I had my hands tied behind my back, and I wasn't allowed to contribute anyway. And it made me feel sort of left out. And to me, that is like so important. Unless I can be creative and involved in the whole process, I'm not so interested. So I can do that for a short while, but in the long run, in the long term, I get depressed, so I had to quit.
And also with the King Diamond band, the solo band, were the same stuff, with the creative process.
Not really. I mean, on the first album, I joined the band in '89 and did the whole Conspiracy world tour and all. But then when it was time to make the next album, The Eye. Me and Andy wrote a song together. We had some parts and riffs and all that, and he had some stuff, and we put that together and we sent that to King, and he came up with his vocals and arrangement and whatever. And so there I had a different position, and it felt good. But what happened with King Diamond is that after the Eye album, Pete Black, the guitar player, and Hal Patino were asked to leave or left on their own accord. I don't know. But so they were replaced, and King and Ole Bang, the manager, put me and Andy in charge of finding new members. So while they were looking for a new deal, because they kind of terminated the record contract with the Roadrunner after, I don't know, 5-7 years or whatever. And they figured that they would sign with like a big, what do you say, not independent label, but a big label, basically. Yeah. And it turns out that it was more difficult than they expected. So it took a long time and a lot of negotiations with Sony or Warner Brothers or whatever it might have been. I don't know. So nothing happened for a couple of years there.
Yeah.
And when they were in contact with Metal Blade, for example, from what I heard is that, okay, we're interested in King Diamond, but we are even more interested in Mercyful Fate or Mercyful Fate Reunion. And they offered King a record deal with Mercyful Fate, and they also wanted to see a tour. So King called me up and said, I mean, you're in the family. We want to put Mercyful Fate back together, but with the exception of Kim Russ, the original drummer, because they didn't want him around, I suppose. So I said, sure, I'm a big fan, of course, so I want to do that. And that's how it's kind of spilled over after a hiatus of 2-3 years or 2 years at least. It spilled over into becoming Mercyful Fate instead, so that happened. You guys,
I don't know what happened to. Are you still there, man? Can't see you, man. I think the other guys have gone. I think Snow will probably taken enough of your time anyway. But thank you so much. I really want to read your book now.
Yeah. You got to do that. You got to push for that, because I'm spilling the beans. I'm telling things the way they are, but in a better way, because when I'm writing, I can reverse myself or go back and polish it, of course, so it's way better than I express it now.
In English, or was it translated from Swedish
straight
into English?
No, it's
cool.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Or in Spanish.
All right.
Maybe try to write it in Spanish.
That would be pushing it a little bit. I don't know much. I mean, hola, señor. I can't speak Spanish at all.
That's right. Muy bien.
Yeah.
Snowy, have you ever been in Latin America touring or tourist?
Yeah, of course. Not with my solo band. I was supposed to do that as support then to Therion, but I've done a lot of touring in Latin America with Therion, as you know.
Yeah, with Therion.
But I gotta say that is a real privilege that I've had in my life and in my so-called career. That I've been with bands that some of them are mostly popular in America, for example, whereas other bands, they're mostly popular in Japan. And with Therion, for example, it was almost Beatlemania. I mean, they are not so popular in North America, but in South America and Latin America, they are huge. So we did, tons of touring there, like maybe 8 shows in Mexico alone and all over, so it was really great. So I've had the benefit of being in those bands, like, for instance, DIMMU were pretty popular in Japan, whereas Mercyful Fate, neither Mercyful Fate or King Diamond has ever played in Asia or in Japan. So I get the best of it all, I suppose. So I've been with all those bands.
All of your bands are kind of like round the world tickets that take you to all the different parts of the world.
But it's kind of interesting because, I mean, when I joined Therion as a singer, and we first we did a long European tour, and then we probably went to South America, and they had no clue who I was. They saw me as a singer, the new singer in Therion, and they had no clue I've been a drummer with Mercyful Fate and King Diamond and Dream Evil and all that. So So to them, I was like a new person. So yeah, it's cool. Like a new career, I suppose.
Yeah. He's the new guy. The new singer is a new guy in the music.
Yeah.
But
I gotta say that if I stayed with, let's say, King Diamond for the last 32 years or whatever it is now, 33, I don't think I've been. I mean, it would be too boring to me, I suppose, so to push my limits and to take on new challenges and all that, changing instruments and doing it all with different bands, that's what keeps it exciting to me. Like we're doing not just one particular style of music, but everything that I like. I mean, I was in this band called Triple X, or it started out called Loud and Nasty, and then it morphed into Triple X. And then I had sort of like an outlet, creative outlet for my passion for 70s glam rock, like everything from Sweet to T-Rex and David Bowie and all that. So, I mean, I was doing that sort of at the same time I was doing Therion, and Therion is completely something different. And I can use different set of influences and inspirations. Like with Therion, I mean, that's more operatic, more pompous, symphonic and all that. Okay, that's cool. Then I can be that guy. And then I go back home and put on a different suit and be with this glam band. And to me, that's been really good privilege, I gotta say, because otherwise I tend to get bored with doing the same thing all over, the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta have some sort of diversity. I mean, that is what makes it fresh still. Otherwise, I've noticed that if you're doing the same kind of music all the time, it tends to get a little bit boring for me, at least. So then you kind of move into a different direction, and you don't want, for example, to do progressive stuff with Dream Evil. That is more meat and potatoes, so you don't want to squeeze any funk into Therion either, or pop, in that sense.
Okay, just let me tell you that I knew you from the I album, because that was the first time I heard King Diamond, and you, of course, there. And it's one of, I think it's the best album of King Diamond. Your work is awesome there.
Thank you very much. But I gotta say that it's probably because it's your first album.
Maybe.
I mean, it's always like that. The first, I mean, I'm always, I can't help it, but I always end up in those kind of arguments about the best Kiss album, for example. I discovered them with Kiss Destroyer, and that is like the ultimate album to me. People who were like, got into them the following album, Rock and Roll Over. Oh, that's the best album. Whereas I mean, it came out like 6 months after Destroyer, and I went out and bought it, and it was so different sonically, and the production was completely different. So I was only 8 years old or something. So I went back to the store and, there's something wrong with this. It sounds like crap. Or crap. But it doesn't sound as pretty. So what I'm getting at is that it's your first impression with something, your first experience with something. Got to be some sort of sensation.
Yeah.
And it's always going to mean something to you, and you're going to carry that with you for the rest of your life, And wow, so to me, I still to this day, I mean, this album came out like in fucking 1976, and I measure everything I do with that album. Wow, the album cover and the production and the whole quality of it, like. Yeah. That's still what I want to do. I'm still trying to get there.
Yeah, but I think that's important, because it for me is like emotional thing. So I mean, I connect with that album,
sentimental,
and with the band and with the members, and all the stuff of the music.
You say sentimental. It's also a lot of nostalgia going on now. I mean, all those bands that are out there, like farewell tour people. I want to hear the good old songs. Yeah. And it's always like that. It doesn't matter if, I mean, Judas Priest put out like this Firepower, I think it's called. Yeah. And people were like, they were, going ballistic about it. I mean, they were thought it was so fantastic, and it probably is. But for the most part, people tend to like the old stuff, you know, that they grew up with, that they listen to.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to happen the same with Iron Maiden, maybe next tour.
It is, yeah. But everything goes back to that. I mean, if you heard something over and over when you were more open-minded, like a sponge in your teenage years, you were like, wow, I listened a lot to Number of the Beast or something, but I cannot really get into those newer albums because I don't set off the time for it, or I have matured or grown in a way, so I'm not so open. So you tend to go back to listen to what you are used to hearing, and it's that you're sentimental or it's nostalgia. I don't know what it is, but
yeah,
you know, yeah.
Well, maybe it just kind of goes deeper because you're listening to it so much. You kind of just get sedimented into your brain at a deeper level because you've just listened to it a lot, so it's really in there forever.
Yeah, but I think also when you're, you know, in your formative years, when you're like between
for sure
10 to 20 or something, you're like, wow, listening, and you're really absorbing the thing. But when you're like 45, I mean, you don't spend that much time. It's not like you're sleeping listening to that album. It doesn't go, it doesn't get ingrained in your physical body as when you were a kid. So that just explains it, you know. I was just saying, I mean, this new album with Opera Diabolicus that I'm playing drums on and sing, and this is the second one then. And I was saying, this is such a great fucking album that I think it's probably might be the best album I ever appeared on.
Wow.
And people say, yeah, it's probably good, but it's never going to beat The Eye or those early mementomori albums and stuff. Yeah, but that's like 30 years ago, and we were 30 years younger. And if you were 18 back then, wow, this is so special.
Everything is different.
But now you're 48 and you don't give a shit, basically. You know, you're you know, it's hard to absorb things when you're older. And going back to this attention span thing also, I mean, you're not that as open-minded. You like it the way it was. It feels comfortable. I mean, I brought up Judas Priest, for example. I love Judas Priest. I always have. I think Painkiller is a fantastic album. Sad Wings of Destiny from '76. I mean, it's a fantastic British Steel too. I mean, to me, I don't need any more Judas Priest. I mean, if I want to listen to that kind of sound, I put on something that I'm familiar with. Instead of the new album, Rob Halford is the best singer ever. So he doesn't matter if he loses some range there or something, because he's the best. But to me, I don't need that. If I want to listen to that kind of music, I can put on Defenders of the Faith or Painkiller or Stained Class, whatever. If I need to get some Judas Priest into my system, you know. I'm just babbling a lot of shit here, so I'll let you guys go. Yeah.
Okay, Snowy. I don't know the guys, but I think I must to thank you to say thank you so much, Snowy, for your time and all your comments.
Thank you.
It was so interesting to know you better, you know, not just the musician.
Absolutely.
Are you
thank
sure?
You for your time and your opinion, your experience, sharing your stories.
Oh, thank you. But I gotta say, just like you said, I see the picture. You're the British guy, or what's your name? Australian.
Sean.
Okay.
We're gonna read
Sean.
your book.
Okay. You got to read the book. Yeah. There I'm telling all the stories, the stories in detail. Yeah.
Of course, we must
really
to buy that book and then read it.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Yes.
We'll put a link to your book in the description of the video later.
And then maybe we can interview you again after reading the book and kind of follow up with some of the stories that you've kind of put in there and kind of, you know, get some other insights into
some
it.
real interesting questions for sure.
That sounds like a good plan. Good plan to me.
Good.
Sounds like a good plan.
Cool.
For the next year.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Australia.
Cheers,
Abba.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.